NASCAR's most successful winless team, Bahari Racing. Bahari Racing is a former NASCAR Cup Series and Xfinity Series race team that competed from 1981 through 1999. Some notable drivers spent time driving for the race team, including Geoff Bodine, Michael Waltrip, Johnny Benson, and Derrike Cope, including a couple others along the way. Once they began running the full Cup Series schedule, the team was a regular top 15 team for several seasons. Dick Bear began this team under the name Bahari Racing in 1981, when he fielded a number 23 Pontiac, making very select starts in the NASCAR Cup Series from 1981 through 1983. In fact, only running the Daytona 500 each season, with the exception of the Charlotte Fall race in 1981. Starting and finishing 26th after handling problems ended Charlie Glotzbach's day on lap 218. Debuting in the 1981 Daytona 500 with Geoff Bodine behind the wheel of a number 23 Pontiac, starting 14th and finishing 22 laps off the pace in 22nd. It wasn't an amazing debut, but nonetheless, they made the race and were somewhat competitive. Their best overall performance during this time was their Cup Series debut. For the first time, the Bahari Racing number 23 Pontiac made starts at several different types of racetracks in 1984, making 10 starts throughout the season, still using a number 23 Chevrolet. 5 different drivers split the driving duties for the team. Morgan Shepherd made 4 starts, Gene Coyle and Connie Saylor each made 2 starts apiece, with Sterling Marlin and Don Hume each making a one-off start. Saylor scored the team's best start, 19th at Charlotte in the fall, and Shepherd scored the team's best finish of 17th at Charlotte in the spring. Bahari Racing continued to run a partial schedule in 1985, making 9 starts throughout the season. Michael Waltrip made the most starts, 5, while the remaining 4 drivers, Eldon Dotson, Jim Hull, Dick May, and Morgan Shepherd, each made 1 start apiece. Waltrip scored both the team's best start of the season, 19th in Atlanta in the fall, and their best finish, which was 18th at Michigan in the summer. After several years of only making select starts, the team decided to go full-time racing in the NASCAR Cup Series in 1986. Bear formed a business partnership with Lawrence Harry and Chuck Ryder, who each took the first 2 letters of each man's last name to create the name Bahari Racing, which was the team's name now. Michael Waltrip, who made the majority of the starts for Bear's team in 1985, ran the full schedule and for Rookie of the Year honors in 1986, behind the wheel of a number 23 Hawaiian Punch Pontiac. Waltrip attempted 29 races, qualifying 28 times, DNQing for the 1986 Daytona 500. Waltrip's best start was 9th at North Wilkesboro in the fall, and his best finish was 11th twice, at Martinsville in the spring and Pocono in the summer. Overall, in 28 starts, Waltrip scored 8 top 15s and 16 top 20s, finishing 19th in final NASCAR Cup Series point standings. For the 1987 NASCAR Cup Series season, the team switched from the number 23 to the number 30, and from Pontiacs to Chevrolets. Michael Waltrip remained with the team as their full-time driver. Dick Bear served as Waltrip's crew chief in 1987. The newly renumbered number 30 Chevrolet also picked up some new sponsorship along the way. Domino's Pizza for 5 races early in the season, before All Pro Auto Parts came aboard at about the halfway point in the season, spending literally almost all season in around 20th in points. They did score their first top 10 finish. Waltrip's best start was 7th twice at Richmond and North Wilkesboro in the fall. His best finish was 10th at Martinsville in the spring. Overall, in 29 starts, Waltrip scored 1 top 10, finishing 20th in final NASCAR Cup Series point standings. At the conclusion of the season, Dick Bear sold his stake in the race team to Ryder and Lawrence Harry. Bear would field a very part-time effort, with Dave Mater III making the majority of the starts. The 1988 NASCAR Cup Series season didn't get off to the start that Bahari Racing was hoping for by any means, with Waltrip just outright missing the field for the 1988 Daytona 500 due to lack of speed. This would force Ryder and Harry to purchase the number 89 Pontiac ride owned by the Muller brothers. Waltrip would drive that number 89 machine to a 22nd place finish in the Daytona 500. They also picked up Country Time Lemonade as primary sponsor of the number 30 Pontiac. Mike Beam took over as the team's crew chief starting in 1988. While spending much of the first two-thirds of the season in the 20s in points, by season's end, Waltrip worked his way up into the high teens. His best start was 6th at Richmond in the fall, and his best finish was 2nd at Pocono in the early summer. Overall, in 28 starts, the team scored 1 top 5 and 3 top 10s, finishing 18th in final NASCAR Cup Series point standings. Also making their Busch Series, now Xfinity Series debut at IRP in the late summer, with Waltrip behind the wheel of a number 03 Country Time Lemonade Oldsmobile, starting 4th and finishing 14th. Performance continued to slowly tick upward with each passing season, as they would for the first decade of the team running full-time. Michael Waltrip remained the driver of the Bahari Racing's number 30 Country Time Lemonade Pontiac. Beam would remain Waltrip's crew chief until the conclusion of race 26 in North Wilkesboro in the fall, when Bill Engel replaced him. With 6 finishes of 21st or better to begin the season, for the first time ever, Bahari Racing spent 3 consecutive weeks inside the top 10 in point standings, before a rash of DNFs in the middle of the season dropped the number 30 team back to around 20th in points. Waltrip's best start was 7th, twice, at Bristol and Charlotte in the spring. His best finish was 6th at Dover in the fall. Overall, in 29 starts, Waltrip scored 5 top 10s, finishing 18th in final NASCAR Cup Series point standings. In the Xfinity Series, number 30 post-serial Pontiac ran the majority of the schedule, making 22 Xfinity Series starts between 2 different drivers, Waltrip and Ronnie Silver. Waltrip made 12 starts. His best start was 1st 3 times, at IRP in the late summer, then Dover and Charlotte in the fall. His best finish was 1st at IRP in the late summer. Overall, in 12 starts, Waltrip scored 3 poles, 1 win, 5 top 5s, and 6 top 10s. Ronnie Silver was the other driver to make starts in Bahari's number 30 in the Xfinity Series, making 10 starts in all. Silver's best start was 10th at Myrtle Beach in the summer, and his best finish was 5th, twice, at both Rougemont races. Overall, in 10 Xfinity Series starts, Silver scored 2 top 5s and 5 top 10s, with the number 30 team scoring, in 22 Xfinity Series starts, 3 poles, 1 win, 8 top 5s, and 11 top 10s. The 1990s would see Bahari Racing continue to get more and more competitive. For the 1990 Cup Series season, Maxwell House Coffee and Country Time Drink Mix would share sponsoring the number 30 Pontiac throughout the season, spending all but 5 weeks inside the top half of the top 20 in points. Waltrip's best start was 2nd at Richmond in the fall, and his best finish was 3rd at Charlotte in the fall. Overall, in 29 Cup Series starts, Waltrip scored 5 top 5s and 10 top 10s, finishing 16th in final NASCAR Cup Series point standings. Bahari also ran their select schedule in the Xfinity Series, with Michael Waltrip making 12 starts. Ronnie Silver became Waltrip's crew chief while he drove the number 30 in the Xfinity Series. Waltrip's best start was 1st twice at both Richmond races, and his best finish was 1st also twice, at Richmond in the spring and Dover in the early summer. In a potentially life-threatening accident at Bristol in the fall, Waltrip's number 30 suddenly veered outside after contact with Robert Presley. The gate that allowed people in and out of the infield came unlatched, and Waltrip hit head-on into the concrete retaining wall, tearing the race car in half. After a short time, Michael emerged from the wreckage, basically uninjured, to quip, "I may have some contusions and a lot of confusion, but that he was alright, thankfully." Mike Harmon would have an almost identical crash at Bristol in 2002. Overall, in 12 Xfinity Series starts, Waltrip scored 2 poles, 2 wins, 3 top 5s, and 3 top 10s. In 1991, Bahari would sign the sponsor most synonymous with the team, Pennzoil, as their new primary sponsor. With the addition of the new corporate sponsor, the team's overall performance improved as well, spending 1 week inside the top 5, 10 weeks inside the top 10, and 26 weeks inside the top 15 in points throughout the season. Behind the wheel of the number 30 Pennzoil Pontiac, Waltrip's best start was 1st twice, at Dover in the spring and Michigan in the early summer. His best finish was 3rd at Darlington in the spring. Overall, in 29 Cup Series starts, Waltrip scored 2 poles, 0 wins, 4 top 5s, and 12 top 10s, finishing 15th in final NASCAR Cup Series point standings. Making their usual 10 or so Xfinity Series starts, Waltrip's best start was second at Darlington in the spring, and his best finish was second twice at Daytona in the spring and Darlington in the fall. Overall, in 10 Xfinity Series starts, Waltrip scored 5 top 5s and 5 top 10s. Bahari Racing experienced a bit of a down season in 1992, even bringing in a new crew chief following race 21 at Darlington, when Doug Hewitt took over the position. Waltrip's best start was third at Dover in the spring, and his best finish was fourth at Rockingham in the spring. Overall, in 29 Cup Series starts, Waltrip scored 1 top 5 and 2 top 10s, finishing 23rd in final NASCAR Cup Series point standings, returning to the Xfinity Series to make 11 starts in 1992. Waltrip's best start was first at Daytona in the spring, and his best finish was first at Darlington in the fall. Overall, in 11 Xfinity Series starts, they scored 1 pole, 1 win, 3 top 5s, and 6 top 10s. The situation at Bahari Racing in 1993 was that the team was in a rebuilding year of sorts for the Cup Series side of their program, not falling lower than 24th or getting higher than 16th in points throughout the entire season. Michael Waltrip reprised his role as driver of the number 30 Pennzoil Pontiac. His best start was 6th at Charlotte in the spring, and his best finish was 6th at Atlanta in the fall. Overall, in 30 starts, Waltrip scored 5 top 10s, finishing 17th in final NASCAR Cup Series point standings. As for the Xfinity Series side of the operation, Michael Waltrip made 10 starts in Bahari Racing's number 30 Pennzoil Pontiac. His best start was second at IRP in the summer, and his best finish was first twice at Bristol and Charlotte in the spring. The Xfinity Series victory at Charlotte ended up being the final victory that Bahari Racing would score of any kind. Overall, in 10 starts, Waltrip scored 2 wins, 4 top 5s, and 5 top 10s. That following season, in 1994, that number 30 Pennzoil Pontiac race team had a pretty strong season, spending 14 weeks inside the top 10 in points throughout the season. Waltrip's best start was second at Charlotte in the fall, and his best finish was third at Talladega in the spring. Overall, in 31 starts, Waltrip scored 2 top 5s and 10 top 10s, finishing 12th in final NASCAR Cup Series point standings. As for the Xfinity Series side of the operation, Waltrip made 7 starts in the team's number 30 Pennzoil Pontiac. His best start was first at Daytona in the spring, and his best finish was third at Charlotte in the spring. Overall, in 7 Xfinity Series starts, he scored 1 pole, 0 wins, 1 top 5, and 3 top 10s. The 1995 NASCAR Cup Series season was another solid season for the Bahari Racing number 30 Pennzoil Pontiac race team, only racking up 2 DNFs throughout the entire 95 Cup Series season, spending 1 week inside the top 5 and 22 weeks inside the top 10 in point standings. Waltrip's best start was second at Rockingham in the fall, and his best finish was third at Charlotte in the spring. Overall, in 31 Cup Series starts, Waltrip scored 2 top 5s and 8 top 10s, finishing 12th in final NASCAR Cup Series point standings. Back in the Xfinity Series, Waltrip attempted 7 races, qualifying for 6. His best start was first, and his best finish was second, both coming at Daytona in the spring. Overall, in 6 Xfinity Series starts, he scored 1 pole, 0 wins, 2 top 5s, and 2 top 10s. This ended up being Michael Waltrip's final season with Bahari Racing, leaving the team at season's end. Johnny Benson Jr., the 1995 Xfinity Series champion, took over the reins of the number 30 Pennzoil Pontiac for both the 1996 and 1997 seasons. Benson had some strong runs with the team, even winning the 1996 NASCAR Cup Series Rookie of the Year honors. Benson's best start was first, twice, at Atlanta in the spring of 1996 and Michigan in the late summer of 1997. His best finish was 5th at Pocono in the summer of 1996. Overall, in 62 Cup Series starts, Benson scored 2 poles, 0 wins, 1 top 5, and 14 top 10s, with the best points finish of 11th in 1997. The final start that Bahari Racing's Xfinity Series operation made was at Homestead in the fall of 1996, with Benson starting 31st and finishing 42nd following a lap 30 accident. At the conclusion of the 1997 season, Benson left for Roush Racing, and Pennzoil left to sponsor DEI's first full-time foray into the Cup Series. From this point, things really began to fall apart for Bahari Racing, signing Derrike Cope for the 1998 and 1999 seasons. Cope DNQ'd 4 times throughout the 98 season and 9 times in the first 20 races of the 99 season. This because Ryder and Harry sold the race team to Jack Birmingham, forming Eel River Racing. Cope's best start was first at Charlotte in the fall of 1998, and his best finish was 11th at Talladega in the fall of 1998. Overall, in 39 starts, Cope scored 1 pole, 0 wins, 0 top 5s, 0 top 10s, and 3 top 15s, with the best points finish of 37th in 1998. In conclusion, Bahari Racing had some solid personnel with some competitive equipment, and even had some consistent sponsorship with Pennzoil. Just was a single-car team when the era of multi-car teams began to grow. The team's death knell, it seems, was when they lost Pennzoil as their primary sponsor. They did everything but win a Cup Series race throughout their existence. So, overall, in 395 NASCAR Cup Series starts, the team scored 5 poles, 0 wins, 16 top 5s, and 70 top 10s, with the best points finisher 12th, twice, in 1994 and 1995, by Michael Waltrip. In 81 Xfinity Series starts, the team scored 8 poles, 6 wins, 25 top 5s, and 36 top 10s. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care.